Before I share this video, a quick warning. What you're about to see is disturbing. This is the video I referenced in our most recent episode on Shanquella Robinson. Her family advocate asked that we share it with everyone so you can see for yourself what happened and be the judge.
Quilla, can you at least fight back? At least something. At least fight back, something.
Get up, bro. Get up.
Shanquella died the same day this video was taken, and at the time it was leaked online, everyone who was with Shanquella told her mom she died of alcohol poisoning. They all denied that a fight ever happened. So tell me, after seeing that video, what do you believe?
Imagine getting the call, the one every parent dreads. For Salamandra Robinson, it came in the afternoon on October 29th, 2022. The voice on the other end was young, familiar, one of her daughter's closest friends. But the words they spoke were foreign. Shanquella got sick. She drank too much. It was alcohol poisoning. We're so sorry. They painted a picture of a tragic accident under the Mexican sun. A girl's trip gone horribly wrong. They were crying. They were grieving. They even showed up at the house, sat on the couch, and held Salamandra's hand while they fed her that story. And for a moment, grief won. She believed them. Because who looks at the people your child trusted and sees liars? But grief has a funny way of clearing the fog. Slowly, like pulling a thread on a sweater, the story started to unravel. The details from the 6 friends began to fray. One said Shanquella was found on the floor. Another swore she was in bed. A third claimed she was slumped in a chair. It was like a game of telephone where everyone forgot the line. The family's instincts started screaming, something is wrong. And then, the envelope arrived from Mexico. The death certificate. When Salamandra opened it, the lie didn't just unravel, it exploded. The document didn't say alcohol poisoning. It didn't mention tequila or a party gone wrong. The question is, how do 6 people watch a life slip away, cook up a story, and then sit in a grieving woman's living room and act like they lost a friend too? What kind of people do that? Welcome back to True Crime Unravelled. Before we get into the twisted web of the Cabo Six, I want to take a quick moment. To everyone watching on YouTube at True Crime Unravelled, and to our family over on Facebook and TikTok at True Crime Unravelled TV, thank you. We see your comments, we read every single theory, and your passion for seeking justice for victims like Shanquella is what keeps this channel going. Keep the comments coming. Keep it coming. And to those of you who have been sending super thanks gifts on YouTube, we see that too. We appreciate you more than you know. Your support keeps this channel going and keeps these stories alive. Thank you. Truly. Now let's get into it. You have to hear this. To understand the depth of this betrayal, you have to understand Shanquella Robinson. This wasn't just a face on a news report. This was Quella. She was a 25-year-old entrepreneur from Charlotte, North Carolina. She had a heart of gold, according to everyone who knew her, and she had a hustle mentality. She ran her own hair braiding business. She was a student at Winston-Salem State University, and she lit up every room she walked into. Her father, Bernard Robinson, called her his only jewel. He told reporters that she never mistreated anybody. She was the friend you called when you were down, the daughter who checked in with her mom every single day. In fact, the day before she left for Mexico, she was laughing with her mother, Salamandra, about a chef who was going to cook them tacos. Her mom said, "Enjoy yourself, love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow." But she never spoke to her daughter again.
Shanquella's mother had spoken with her daughter the day before she died and said she sounded happy.
She was laughing and talking and said a chef was getting ready to cook them some tacos. And I said, well, okay, enjoy yourself, love you. I will talk to you tomorrow. And I never spoke with her again.
The trip was supposed to be a girls' getaway to Cabo San Lucas. It was the end of October 2022. The perfect Instagrammable vacation with a group of friends from college. They rented a luxury villa, posted stories by the pool, and looked like they were having the time of their lives. But within 24 hours of arriving, Shanquella was dead. You already know about the call home and the lies they told. But what happened inside that villa is worse than any story they could invent. Mexican prosecutors didn't mince words. This was not an accident. This was a direct attack. They classified her death as femicide, the killing of a woman because she is a woman, and they issued an arrest warrant for one of the female friends in the group, a woman named Dejani Jackson. But the friends clammed up. They went silent. They deleted social media. They thought if they just stayed quiet, it would all blow over. They forgot one thing. Someone in that room, someone holding a phone while Shanquella was being beaten, decided to hit record.
Quilla, can you at least fight back?
No. What's your name?
At least something. At least fight back, something.
Get up, bro. Get up.
And that video found its way onto the internet. It went nuclear. In that video, which we will not glorify, you see a naked woman, Shanquella, being brutally attacked by another woman. She is defenseless. She is limp. And you can hear the others in the background. They aren't screaming for her to stop. They aren't calling 911. They are telling Shanquella to fight back. Get up, bro, they yell. They are spectators at a gladiator fight, not friends watching someone be killed. When that video dropped, the alcohol poisoning lie evaporated. The world saw the truth, and the 6 friends became known as the Cabo Six. Now, let me take you inside that villa, because the details that emerged later are even more damning. According to a local police report, the group didn't call for medical help immediately after the beating. When they finally did call a doctor to the villa, that doctor spent hours with Shanquella. He saw what was happening. He told them, point blank, repeatedly, that she needed a hospital. She needed an ambulance. She needed real emergency care. And what did the friends do? They refused. They refused to call for an ambulance. They kept her there, deteriorating, while a medical professional begged them to get her help. Think about that for a second. Why would you refuse to call an ambulance? There's only one logical reason. You know what happened to her. You know that if she gets to a hospital, doctors will see the trauma. They will see the broken neck. They will ask questions, and those questions will lead back to the beating in the bedroom. They chose covering their own skin over saving her life. The conspiracy of silence wasn't just about protecting the attacker. It was about maintaining a narrative to anyone who walked through that door. Now we get to the part of this story that the FBI hoped would stay buried. In early 2025, as part of the family's lawsuit, more than 100 pages of FBI documents were released. Much of the information was heavily redacted, chunks blacked out, more than 200 pages removed entirely from public view. But what little made it through paints a damning picture of the investigation.
Tonight we move on to these new details in the case of Shanquella Robinson after WCNC Charlotte obtained more than 100 pages of newly released documents from the FBI.
While much of the information remains redacted, it does offer some insight into what investigators were hoping to learn.
WCNC Charlotte's anchor Kaylin Hagwood has been combing through those pages. Joining us in the studio, of course, now. Kaylin, big question here is what stands out to you?
Well, while these documents do provide some insight into the FBI's investigation, they also raise questions on what's not being shared, with heavy redactions and more than 200 pages removed.
It was supposed to be a friend's getaway to Cabo San Lucas in October 2022, but 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson never made it home. Investigators say her 6 travel mates, now dubbed as the Cabo Six, initially told Robinson's family she may have died from alcohol poisoning. But according to documents WCNC Charlotte obtained, an autopsy in Mexico revealed a different story: severe spinal and neck trauma. Robinson's dad, Bernard, says the pain is still raw.
It just hurt to the core that these 6 individuals out here came back to the United States soil, walking around here like they ain't did nothing.
Newly released FBI documents show that in early 2023, federal agents contacted a Mexican prosecutor with 11 specific questions. They wanted to know who owned the villa where Robinson died, whether surveillance video existed, if there were 911 recordings, and what medical records were available. The FBI outreach happened right around when Mexican officials announced they were searching for a suspect. The documents confirm an arrest warrant was issued, though the suspect's name remains sealed. Just one of hundreds of pages redacted or removed from the public's view.
So what was on the pages? No one in this world who got kids and daughters will want this done to their child and have to deal with this not knowing what happened and why it happened.
The documents also show the FBI conducted interviews after Robinson's death. One person told agents the group had been drinking heavily and had placed Robinson in a shower, trying to help her sober up. One person in the group was reportedly so distraught they couldn't eat or sleep.
Well, I have reached out to the FBI for clarification on why the pages were so heavily redacted or removed. As for where the case stands now, 4 of the 6 friends filed motions to dismiss, saying the case belongs in Mexico. Robinson's mother is also suing the Cabo Six, the FBI, and the State Department, seeking $100 million in damages. There are no charges in the U.S. Of course, as we continue to get updates in this story, you can find the latest information and follow the timeline over the years inside the WCNC Charlotte mobile app.
The FBI's outreach to Mexican prosecutors included 11 specific questions. Who owned the villa? Did surveillance video exist? Were there 911 recordings? The documents also revealed that someone in the group thought there were cameras in the villa and tried to get the footage. Why would you be scrambling to find security camera footage unless you knew something incriminating was recorded? But here's where the case takes another bizarre turn. According to the FBI documents, one person told agents the group had been drinking heavily and had placed Shanquella in a shower trying to help her sober up. Another person in the group was reportedly so distraught they couldn't eat or sleep. But the most chilling detail came from someone who saw pictures of Shanquella's body after she died. They said it looked like she had been stomped on. Those are the exact words used in the FBI report. Then you have the autopsies. The Mexican autopsy was clear. Severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, a broken neck. But when Shanquella's body was brought back to Charlotte for a second autopsy, the Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner found her spine was intact. They defined injuries, a hematoma on her forehead, a brain injury from lack of oxygen. But the final ruling? Undetermined. The U.S. officials said they couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt how she died. The family's attorney, Ben Crump, pointed out the insanity of the situation. A U.S. citizen should not be allowed to go overseas, harm another U.S. citizen, and then just come back home and say, we're on base. We're safe. But in April 2023, that's exactly what happened. The U.S. Department of Justice announced they would not pursue federal charges. The FBI closed their investigation. They looked at that video, the lies, the doctor's report, and said there wasn't enough evidence for a federal crime. Meanwhile, in Mexico, the arrest warrant for femicide still exists. It's sitting in a file, gathering dust. But because the suspect is in the U.S. and the U.S. won't extradite its own citizens easily, it's essentially a piece of paper. And the accused? Johnny Jackson changed her name. She now goes by Imani Green. She is representing herself in court, claiming self-defense, and arguing that the statute of limitations has passed, or that the lawsuit wasn't served to her properly. Her own family's lawyers have argued that she changed her name to evade responsibility. But here's where the legal battle gets interesting. 4 of the 6 defendants, including Alice Hyatt and Wynter Donovan, filed motions to dismiss the case entirely. Their argument? That the case belongs in Mexico, not North Carolina. They claim that because the incident happened on foreign soil, it should be handled by Mexican law. If the lawsuit was never filed there, they say the claim should be thrown out. The family's legal team fired back hard. Their response pointed out something that should be common sense. This is a lawsuit by an American plaintiff against American defendants for conduct that continued on American soil when the defendants allegedly fled back to North Carolina to evade prosecution. Both the plaintiff and the defendants reside in North Carolina. The family argues that Hyatt and Donovan conspired to conceal critical information about Shanquella's death right here in the U.S., making North Carolina the most appropriate venue. The response goes on to say that the Cabo Six are material witnesses to Shanquella's death. They agreed to conceal information from the investigation and promoted that viral video. If the case were dismissed, the family argues it would send a frightening message to the American public that you can harm someone overseas, come home, and hide behind borders. So where does that leave us? As of January 27th, 2026, Judge Max Cogburn sent the civil lawsuit back to Mecklenburg County Superior Court. The ruling came after all federal claims against the FBI and State Department were dismissed in June 2025. The judge found that once those federal claims were gone, the court no longer had jurisdiction to hear the remaining causes of action, which include wrongful death, negligence, battery, conspiracy, and emotional distress under North Carolina law. What that means in plain English, it's a civil case now, a fight for money, not justice. There is no trial date. There is no criminal charge. There are no handcuffs. There are just 6 people who walked back over the border, free as birds, while Bernard Robinson visits a grave. Bernard said something that stuck with me. He said, "I can't even be a grandfather. I can't even walk her down the aisle. All I can do is be her voice." The unique horror of this case isn't just the violence. It's the silence. It's the fact that 6 people made a pact in real time to let a woman die to save themselves. They created a conspiracy of silence that has held up for over 3 years. And it makes you wonder, if 6 people can watch their friend be murdered and get away with it, what does that say about the value we place on truth? Here is what I want to know from you. The legal system has failed. The FBI walked away. The extradition request is in limbo. For defendants want the case tried in Mexico, hoping it disappears in translation. So who is really responsible for justice now? Do you think the U.S. government dropped the ball to avoid a messy international incident? Or do you think the conflicting autopsies created reasonable doubt that prosecutors couldn't ignore? And what about the other 5 people in that room? The ones who didn't throw the punch, but filmed it and lied about it. Should they be held accountable just as much as the person who struck the blow? I want to hear your theories. Drop them in the comments below. We read them all. If you want justice for Shanquella, share this video. Let's keep her name alive. Don't forget to like and subscribe to True Crime Unraveled so you don't miss our next deep dive. And to those of you who have been sending super thanks gifts on YouTube, we see that too. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
We have a very disturbing story about the death of a young American woman in Mexico and the search for answers from the people she was traveling with, people she says or thought were her friends. Shanquella Robinson died last month at a resort near Cabo San Lucas. Now, Mexican prosecutors are trying to get an unnamed American woman extradited to Mexico to face the charges. They say that Robinson was killed in a, quote, direct attack, not an accident. Lilia Luciano was following this investigation. Lilia, good morning. This story is so disturbing on so many levels.
It really is. Good morning to you all. Well, Shanquella Robinson traveled with 6 friends to Mexico. Some of those friends initially told Robinson's parents that she died of alcohol poisoning, but her death certificate later listed her cause of death as a spinal cord and neck injury. Robinson's father told us if it weren't for the disturbing videos that emerged, including one where she's being brutally attacked, he fears justice would have never been served.
She was just a very, outgoing person. I mean, she loved people, just loved the friends that she was around.
Shanquella Robinson's father says his daughter's friends are to blame for the 25-year-old's death at a resort in Mexico in late October. Days after her death, a video too disturbing to show went viral, showing a woman beating Robinson, who was naked and not fighting back, while other friends watched and filmed nearby.
My daughter, she suffered, man. The last breath she took, she suffered. And they sit there and watch.
A local police report shows friends called for medical help just after 2 p.m., saying Robinson had, quote, drunk a lot of alcohol. When the doctor arrived and suggested she be taken to a hospital, she told police Robinson's friends refused and insisted on keeping her at the resort. Mr. Robinson says her friends called Shanquella's mother that night to say she was being treated for alcohol poisoning. An autopsy report released days later states Robinson died of a severe spinal cord injury and neck trauma at around 3 p.m. After her death, all 6 friends returned to the United States. Mexican authorities are now seeking the extradition of a single female suspect. John Jay College law professor Dmitry Shaknovich says the process now lies in the hands of the U.S. justice system.
they will engage in their own due process to see if this person that is alleged to have committed a crime should be extradited.
What do you want to see happen?
I want the truth, man. I just want them to get back over there and tell the Mexican authorities why they did what they did. I can't even be a grandfather. I can't even walk down the aisle, man. The only thing I can do is cherish the moments that we had, the 25 years while she was here on this earth.
His only child. Robinson's death is being investigated by Mexican authorities as a femicide, or the killing of a woman because of her gender. The FBI has said that they have opened an investigation into the death as well. And at this hour, it remains unclear whether those who witnessed the fight may also be in legal jeopardy.
I hope they are. I saw the video for the first time. My niece showed it.
Disturbing.
Over vacation. It is so upsetting. And you can hear them yelling at her saying, fight back, fight back. If the arrest warrant is for the woman who we see in the video, she needs to be sent over to Mexico sooner rather than later. It's so outrageous. And I think Dad is right. If it wasn't for that video, they might have gotten away with the story that they initially told.
Yeah.
That was the concern. He says, you know, if these videos hadn't come out, he fears that, you know, the story that these friends had, that this happened because of alcohol poisoning, which he says they insisted, and some of those friends came to the mother's house, to her family.
And told that same story again.
Told that same story until the videos came out, and then everybody shut down their social media, disappeared, and have been silent ever since.
Disgusting. I hope the U.S. acts on this.
Yeah, I hope justice is
served.
served.
Should not get away with this. Exactly.
Sure. Thank you so much.
It was the perfect warm weather getaway until something terrible happened, and 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson wound up dead in Mexico.
I just sit back and wait on God, because like I say, she's going to get justice.
On October 28th, Shanquella traveled from her home in North Carolina to Mexico with 6 friends. They'd booked a villa in Cabo. These are images taken from a disturbing video circulating online. Her father confirms to CNN the video shows Shanquella being thrown to the floor and beaten on the head. It's unclear when the video was taken or if it depicts the moment she suffered the fatal injury. According to a copy of the death certificate obtained by CNN affiliate WSOC, Shanquella's cause of death was severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability or excessive movement in the uppermost neck vertebrae. The death certificate also notes that just about 15 minutes passed between the time she was injured and her death.
We just waiting for someone to be arrested.
Originally, the people Shanquella was traveling with, who her parents say were all friends from college, told her parents Shanquella died from alcohol poisoning.
Something is not adding up right here.
Not adding up because prosecutors in Mexico say evidence shows the death resulted from a direct attack, not an accident, and involved one of Shanquella's female friends. The suspect has not been named and no one has been charged, but Mexican authorities confirm an arrest warrant has been issued for the crime of femicide, the killing of a woman because of her gender.
If you know Quilla, she always get her way. So she's gonna get justice, so I'm not worried about that. I'm more so disappointed that she was around people that she thought were her friends.
The FBI is investigating, and Mexican prosecutors are looking to extradite the suspect once they locate her. Shanquella's mother had spoken with her daughter the day before she died and said she sounded happy.
She was laughing and talking and said a chef was getting ready to cook them some tacos. And I said, well, okay, enjoy yourself, love you. I will talk to you tomorrow. And I never spoke with her again.
Shanquella was a student at Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina. Her father says she loved gymnastics and also had her own hair braiding business. Her parents say she had a heart of gold and never mistreated anybody. Hundreds turned out to pay their respects at Shanquella's funeral. Her parents are vowing to be her voice and fight for justice as they try to move forward without what her father calls his only jewel.
Good evening. I'm Shanquella Robinson's mother, Salamandra Robinson, and I would like each and every one of you, if you can, anything you can do, step in and help us with justice. We need justice for Shanquella Robinson. It has been 2 years, and there's no reason that no one has not been arrested yet, and I need justice for my child. Thank you.
Today marks a very somber and heartbreaking milestone. The 2-year anniversary of the tragic murder of a remarkable young woman whose life was cut short in a senseless act of violence while she was on vacation in Mexico. As we stand here today, we must confront the reality that those responsible for her murder have not been held accountable. As we stand here today, we must confront the reality that those responsible for her murder have not been held accountable. The lack of justice serves as a painful reminder of the vulnerabilities faced by individuals, especially young Black women, when they seek adventure in unfamiliar places with